Hey guys, how you doing? I'm doing okay. It's a cold day today, and you see I got my jacket on. Probably in the 50s or 40s, so it's a bit on the cold side. So I'm not going to be out for very long. I just want to speak briefly about. Okay, I have a long time school friend from grade school, and we had stopped talking after he accused me of being so out of touch with reality because I was able to see everything that was happening on the left and to the Democrat Party, and he just refused to see it. And he was accusing me of being out of touch with reality. And so we didn't speak. And so we started to speak again, and he said, as long as we keep politics out of, our friendship. And I agreed to that. So I made sure that, now I really don't know if he was a subscriber. I think he was up to a point, and maybe he still is, I don't know, but I share my videos to my friends whom I'm not sure what their political affiliation is, but I feel that what I have to say makes a lot of sense, and I know there's a few of my friends who share my stands and everything, and who agree with me, and so I happened to pick a video that uh, really had no political uh, topic, just a generalized topic, and he just went right on me about Trump and all the propaganda that he's been fed, and then he brought up an incident of last year. It's like, whoa, where the hell that come from? I mean, we moved past that, and he's still talking about it. My God. And he tells me that I should get over it. Huh? He should get over it, really. Now, is that the same thing as what Barr is doing now with uncovering the origins of the Russia probe? No, that's different um, because justice hasn't been made yet. Justice has not been achieved yet, and so that's why they're investigating that. But to talk about Trump's reaction, and then he brings in an NBC article as if that proves his point or that supports his point. NBC is part of that, mainstream media biased reporting, if you can call it that. And I said, I'm sorry, that doesn't have any credibility. And he fires back with, well, every word out of Trump's mouth has zero credibility. And it's like, and then he accuses me of wanting to always have the last word in. I'm saying, you're the one who does that. I don't do that. You say something outrageous and I respond. And what, do you expect me not to respond when you throw something outrageous to me? So it's a never-ending fight, and it really is very sad that what's going on in this country affects friendships and relationships and family, and it is so tragic. It is so tragic. And then I get not negative comments really super hateful comments, so atrocious, so absolutely atrocious. It is even not worth repeating. From total strangers, it's like, I'm sorry. Why did you watch it? If you feel this way, just it's like you gotta make a comment. You gotta leave a comment. I mean, yeah, I'm making comments all the time when I see outrageous things going on, but that's because what's being portrayed to the American people is just a sham. It's a tragedy, a travesty. And, and so he mentions old news, about what happened in Saudi Arabia. And it's like, oh my God, we've gone past that. Just like when Juan Williams is still talking about children kept in cages. I'm like, oh my God, are you still on that? That has been debunked a million times over. If that was the policy of Obama, and did you even pay attention to everything that Trump has been doing to rectify that? And I'm sure the answer what I would get is no. I would say, well, then maybe you better, because Trump has fixed all of that. It's like you don't even bother to keep up to date on things. And so you get negative comments and comments from last year or incidents from last year, and it's like they're as bad as my family would be, focusing on, incidences that happened way in the past and keep talking about it as if it were relevant. It's like, excuse me, but it's 2019, and it's like, oh, that isn't, that, first of all, that wasn't his policy, number one. Number two, he fixed it. So what you're talking about is totally irrelevant now. Let it go. Let it go. If not let it go, at least be updated. And so people need to make these horrible comments. And, this is really, really sad. And what was talked about, I think, in one conversation about racism, because we were talking about racism, and I mentioned that I grew up in a world where there was no racism. And he says, racism was there, and I says, well, it may have been there, but I wasn't aware of it. And he said, well, ignorance is no excuse. I said, excuse me? Ignorance is no excuse? Or denial is another word he used on me. Denial. You're in denial that it happened. I said, look, it didn't happen in my world. Okay? In the world I grew up in. The world I grew up in with, there was no racism at all. At all. And instead of criticizing me or shaming me, saying I'm in denial, as if it's such a bad thing that I grew up in a world where there's no racism, are you saying it's a good thing that there was racism? That I'm totally should be shamed and attacked because I didn't grow up with racism? I mean, really? Is that what you're defending? That we must acknowledge racism and say we have to live with it? I said, we reject it. I reject it. Just because you didn't live with it doesn't mean it wasn't there. I said, and denial is no excuse. I said, look, denial is one thing for certain things, but, you know, racism is different than the Holocaust. Okay? If you want to talk about denial, right? There are these Holocaust denials and so forth, or World War II denials, or landing on the moon denials, and events are different than attitudes. Okay? History is different than attitudes. Okay? We must never forget our history. And the Holocaust, was a tragic event. The moon landing was an outstanding event. Okay? Racism is not an event. I'm sorry. And my thinking is, to me, it never happened. There was no racism in the world I grew up in. And is that so terrible? I mean, really, is that so terrible that racism didn't exist in the world I grew up in? Are you defending racism? Are you really defending racism? I mean, think about what you're suggesting. If you grow up without racism, then you don't learn racism. You don't practice racism. You totally reject racism because if you grow up without racism of any kind, can you imagine how much better this world would be? Hatred and racism is taught. Okay. Yeah, it exists to a lesser extent. But you know what? It exists when people keep it alive. When people keep it alive, that's when it never goes away. And each new generation is learned to hate and to be racist. Then it will never go away. So I was trying to convey a positive message. And there was another incident when I was saying that, and how the Democrats hate these people and hate this people, hate conservatives, hate this, hate that, hate the president. It's like, hey, look, love. If we stop the hate, okay, hatred is learned, racism is learned. If people teach, because I said conservatives love everybody, and then she responds by putting a picture of a young man with a swastika on a cap. He's wearing a cap with a swastika on it, and she says, even him. I was like, oh, brother. I try to make a positive statement. I try to spread a positive message. And it just gets shitted on. I said, damn, can a person convey a positive message without somebody just throwing in the trash? In the sewer? I mean, really? No, obviously, duh. Obviously, that's not a really good person. No, I'm not saying that at all. But damn it, that is still alive because people keep it alive. People keep it alive by sharing this antisocial, anti-humanistic attitude to the next generation. This is why it's still alive. This is why we still deal with it. We deal with it because people keep it alive. Put it to rest. Kill it. Destroy it. Say, you know what? I'm not going to endorse it. I'm not going to encourage it. Because any time you spread messages like that, you're basically keeping it alive. You're keeping it going. And you have a choice. Everybody has a choice. Like, I choose not to talk about racism. I choose not to talk about, any kind of hatred. If everybody everywhere did that. Hello. Then an entire generation will never know it. Which is why Moses kept the Israelites from going into the promised land. Because all they knew of was slavery. And they've been suffering post-traumatic stress disorder from having been slaves. So obviously they're not worthy to go into the promised land because they're still tarnished with years of slavery in their psyche. It's a blemish. It's a stigma on their psychological makeup. And that's why they wandered in the desert for a whole generation. So it's like breaking the cycle of abuse. Why do we break cycles of abuse? Why? Why do we break that cycle? When a father beats up his mother, the child sees it, and the child learns that's how you treat women. So when the boy grows up and has a woman of his own, he does exactly what he saw his father doing. And the cycle just keeps going on and on and on and on. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Obviously that's a bad thing. And all the time we hear about breaking the cycle of abuse. And it says, I saw my grandfather do that to my grandmother. I saw my father do that to my mother. And I'm breaking the cycle right now. I'm not doing that to my wife. My children will never see what I saw. That's the whole point. Teaching your children to reject what you grew up with. If you grew up with hatred, if you grew up with violence, if you grew up with racism, keep that away from your child. Don't teach your child about that. And every parent should do that. If every parent, everywhere, did that, can you imagine how quickly we would eradicate hatred and prejudice and violence and hatred, violence, racism, how quickly that would disappear? But see, not everybody does. And that's what I try to do my part in saying, why do we want to keep the cycle going? I see no reason why we must keep the cycle going. I would say that it is very sad that people have this attitude and so much destruction is a result of this attitude. I mean, I'm not saying that I would never teach them that, but I would teach them this is very, very hurtful, and it doesn't help anybody anywhere. So I teach my children to always love and respect. Never hate, never be racist, never have any prejudice. And if all parents everywhere taught their children this very simple message, we will have eradicated racism and everything else. And that's really what I was trying to say. Why must we keep the cycle going? Why can't we end the cycle? Why not? Why can't we? Why can't we? Why must we keep the cycle going? Racism and hatred. Yeah, let's stoke the fire. Let's keep stoking that fire. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it alive. No, let's extinguish it. It's unnecessary. You know, we must engage in racism. We must engage in hatred. We must. It's an absolute must. I disagree. I disagree. We have a choice. We all have a choice as to the kind of world that we want to create. And I am attacked, vilified, and condemned because I say I grew up in a world where racism didn't exist. I think that's a bad thing. Hey, Mar.
How are you?
All right. I didn't know that was a bad thing. I didn't know it was a bad thing not to grow up with racism or hatred. I didn't know that was a bad thing. No. Anyway, that's pretty much what I want to talk about, and I think my feeling is I really don't appreciate hateful comments. My feeling is I avoid anything I disagree with or things I feel strongly against. I mean, if I'm dead set against incest, would I watch it and comment on it? No. No. If I'm dead set against beheadings, would I watch it? No. If you are dead set against the kind of videos that I offer here, why watch it? Why watch them? It makes no sense. And not only why watch it, but why comment? Do you think you're really making a positive difference when you're complaining and making these horrendous comments? You really think you're helping others, let alone me? It's really very hurtful, and it's so sad that people are this hateful. It is so sad people are this hateful. It really is. We're better than this. We're better than this. So, I grew up with a saying, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. And I think it applies here too. I'm not curtailing your free speech, but you know what? If your free speech affects me and it is hurtful to me, then then that is hate speech. Because that's really what hate speech is. Hate speech, but if you don't agree with what my video is, or don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's easy solutions. I offer easy solutions to simple problems. Don't watch them. I'm not holding a gun to your head, forcing you that if you don't watch it, I'm going to pull the trigger and blow your head off. No. No. If you don't agree with something, don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's no big deal. My feelings won't be hurt if you disagree with something and don't watch it. And I don't understand people sometimes. I really don't understand people. It's so sad. It is so very sad that people are this hateful and cruel. It really, it's like, who are these people? It's like, oh, man, so very sad. Anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to say, and so hope you enjoy. If you enjoy what you saw, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and you know, if you don't support me, or if you don't support my stance or anything, just unsubscribe. I won't feel hurt. Just it's not for you then. That's why everybody's got their own likes and dislikes. Some people like Mexican food, other people don't. To each his own. Really, to each his own. And those who like Taco Bell, hey, they should enjoy Taco Bell. Hey, that's all for you, right? I'm not gonna, because I don't like Taco Bell, I'm not gonna tell you how terrible Taco Bell is. That's not fair to you. That's not fair to you. If you like Taco Bell and I don't, I wouldn't say anything negative about Taco Bell. I said, everybody has their own likes. To each his own. That's what makes the world go round. Everybody's different. So please, refrain from all this hostile comments and hateful hostile comments. If you don't like my videos, don't watch them, unsubscribe. If you subscribed by mistake and thought it was something else, that's understandable. We're all human. We all make mistakes. You're not going to be vilified for that. So, anyhow, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And let's treat each other better. Okay? I don't think that's asking too much. That we treat each other better. We're all one big American family. Let's treat each other like we're one big American family. I mean, each one is different. And there's nothing wrong with that. Alright, take care. I'll see you later. Bye.